So I've got a comment here from someone named Ethan. He says, "People always let you down. That's why I've built my life around not needing them anymore." So let me tell you a little bit more about Ethan's story. Ethan had a friend named Daniel and they were on the same football team. But Ethan saw Daniel as more of a brother than a friend. They'd talk late into the night about how they could get rich one day, open up about their insecurities, and then get right back to football the next day. Ethan didn't realize how much he needed that kind of friendship until he had it. But after graduation, his friend started dating someone, a girl who was outgoing, funny, full of energy. And slowly Ethan felt himself being left behind. Daniel didn't respond to his texts as often. Their plans fell through. And even when they did hang out, uh, Daniel seemed distracted elsewhere. Ethan was left holding a story of a lifelong brotherhood that he had written in his own heart, only to realize that Daniel had quietly stepped out of it, or maybe he never shared it to begin with. Ethan didn't talk about it. Instead, he decided to prove himself. Maybe if he found someone, a woman who would choose him, he could stop feeling insecure. He became more outgoing and funny, and when he met a woman who smiled at his jokes and listened, he latched onto the idea that she could be the one. But when he finally shared how he felt, she backed away. She hadn't been leading him on, just being polite. And that rejection didn't just sting, it shattered him. Because for Ethan, a no didn't mean the end of a fling. It meant a confirmation of a deeper fear that no one would ever want him the way he wanted to be wanted. Lonely and looking for something, Ethan visited a local church where he met a man named Mark, who was a really good listener. Mark was confident and seemed to have everything that he wanted in life. He was the kind of man Ethan always wished his father had been. They'd talk after meetings, and Mark had a way of seeing through Ethan's defenses and speaking to him with warmth and respect. For the first time, Ethan felt like maybe he wasn't invisible to the world, that maybe someone actually saw the good in him. He became more and more devoted to the church. But over time, the conversations became shorter, the check-ins less frequent. It seemed that Mark had forgotten him. New people showing up to the church for the first time were his priority. And Ethan was left wondering if he was just another person passing through. In the end, it felt like he'd spent years standing at the threshold of something he couldn't quite reach, a friendship, a romance, a spiritual home, each one seeming for a moment like the door to everything he ever wanted, the one place that would finally give him the feeling of being chosen, seen, and good enough. But every time he tried to walk through that door, the people he trusted slammed it in his face. He found himself lonely and resentful, knocking on the locked door just to see if they even cared about his pain. So you can imagine having an experience like that. You might say something like this: "People always let you down. That's why I built my life around not needing them anymore." A lot of people feel this way. I know I've felt this way before, and it can be such a difficult emotion to navigate, resentment. But it might be difficult to simply shut people out because what if we're still holding on to the hope that they'll see our pain, that they'll rectify the situation, that the relationship will come back together and be everything we hope for? What if even when we try to reconcile, we're still holding on to anger that we don't want to talk about? In this way, we can feel so conflicted, so torn in different directions. And the deeper question becomes, what should I do if I can't let go of the hope or the anger? So I'll tell you what I've learned from my experience is that when we have a void in our life, just like Ethan had a void for a father figure, he had a void for companionship, he had a void for a partner. When we have some sort of void in our life, we go through the world looking for a person who can fill that place for us. And that psychological and emotional need we have, whether it's for a father figure or a mother figure or a friend or a brother or a partner, whatever that void is, because we're so eager and hungry for someone to fill it, a lot of times, as soon as we meet someone who we think might be able to fill it, we begin to portray, uh, we begin to project all of our fantasies onto that person. And we're not actually able to see them as they are. We're not actually able to see the relationship from their perspective. And so we overestimate the connection. We overestimate how much we can expect from that person. And then when that person acts on their own nature, we're shocked and we're disappointed and we're hurt. And it brings up pain from such a deep place that it's not just that immediate disappointment, but it brings up all the pain of the past too. It becomes a really intense emotional experience. And it leaves us longing for that person to see our pain and to bring us back and tell us that we're good enough. We hold on to the anger because we want to feel like it was wrong what they did. Because if they'll admit it was wrong, then it means that we didn't deserve it. If we didn't deserve it, it means that we're good enough. So our deepest fear is actually that we're not good enough. And we hold on to that anger to avoid that feeling, that thought of shame. But we also hold on to anger out of a way to try to protect ourselves. We don't want to make the same mistake again. So we become jaded and guarded. We don't let people in so easily. And then we can become really isolated. But this also doesn't fulfill the needs that we had engaged in these relationships in the first place: the connection, the trust, respect, the love, shared interests, shared values, etc., etc. We don't get those things from isolating ourselves. And so, what we need to do is become more aware of our own vacancies in our hearts, the pain and longing we feel in our hearts, and our tendency to project that onto other people and do what I call fantasy bonding, where you're bonding with another person, but not bonding based on the actual interactions, but bonding based on your interpretation of your interactions with that person, where you take what they say and you take what they do and you kind of put it into your own pre-existing fantasy. Subconsciously, you don't even realize you're doing this. You start thinking, wow, this person could be the father I never had. This person could be my best friend forever. This person could be the one. And we can be so intent on them being that person for us that we don't even realize how they feel about the relationship. But as soon as we become aware of our tendency to do this, then we can notice when we start with it, and we can learn to pace ourselves and really base how much we invest in a relationship, not on our own desires of what we want it to be, but based on the actual interactions and reciprocation of what it is. How much are they welcoming our investment? And how do we know that? We need to ask these questions and base how much we invest based on how much they're welcoming. And also go gradually, because if you've been hurt before and you don't want to be hurt again, then trust people incrementally. Trust a little bit, see how it goes, and then trust again, see how it goes, trust a little bit more, see how it goes. And in this way, you can build a relationship without taking a lot of risk. The last thing I'll say is don't put all of your needs on any one person. A lot of times when we have this fantasy of the perfect person coming to complete our lives and make us whole, we're expecting that that one person will magically meet all of our emotional and psychological needs. And then as soon as we meet someone, we put incredible pressure and expectations on them because we feel like they have to fulfill that role and that need. And it actually puts a lot of strain on relationships, and ironically, it pushes people away because it's just too much too fast, and it seems like it's not warranted from their perspective. And it's also overwhelming. And so instead of putting all of your expectations on one person, it's really healthy to, first of all, find ways to enjoy your own life that don't depend on anyone else. Find things in the present moment that make you happy, that you like doing for their own sake, rather than always thinking about the past and what you lost, or thinking about what you want to have in the future. Enjoy your life now. Be happy now, and connect with many people and build connections with many people, and try to fulfill your social and emotional needs with many people without depending so much on one person. And then even when you do get a very important person in your life, you won't put too much pressure on them that they feel like they're being obliged and their freedom is being um, impeded upon. Because the sweetest type of love is voluntary, it's unforced. And so, whether you're receiving love or giving love, it feels nicest when there's no force or obligation. It's voluntary, and it's real, and it's personal. That's the kind of relationship you want to go for. And so that's what you can do if you can't let go of hope or the anger. Instead of hoping for one person to fulfill you, one person in the past who's disappeared, look to the people in your life now. Look to the people you could meet, and diversify where you meet your emotional needs and how to let go of the anger. Take responsibility for your own needs, and be cautious and calculated or gradual in how you develop relationships and engage with people. So it's just one step at a time. And then you won't need anger to protect yourself with, because you're taking responsibility to protect yourself consciously and proactively. And then you can let go of these feelings which keep you stuck in resentment. So, can you relate with this video? Can you relate with Ethan's story? Can you relate with any of the advice that I gave based on my own experience? And most importantly, are you ready for change? A lot of people are going to remain resentful, lonely, and isolated. It's really unfortunate. Now, you can go down that road if you've been hurt before, or you can start a new journey, a resentment reset journey, where you learn from your experiences, you become more self-aware, you grow as a person, and you find the love and connection you always wanted without giving up your own power or dignity or letting anyone walk all over you. And so if you'd like to start that journey, I invite you to pause the screen, write down my email address, and send me a message. Or visit my website at coachdalmadar.com. Thank you for watching, and wishing you all the best.